Um, Recently, um, I had discovered that uh, the closest member in my family, which is my sister, is a narcissist. Right now, to give just a little background, it's not going to be on that subject, but I just want to give a little background of it. Now, my sister and I have, we've been together since she was born. I'm older. I'm the oldest. She's about 3.5 years younger than me. And we have been close ever since, have never, ever had a fight, argument, never disrespected one another. We did many, many things together all the time. Family trips, we were always together doing those types of things. uh, and recently, she tried to, I'm gonna just sum it, she tried to use me. Okay, she tried to use me. And I said no. And you know what happens when you put up a boundary and no to a narcissist? The mask falls off. They go deeper. My sister has since then tried, she's kicked me out, um, kicked me out on the street. What else she do? Oh, hold back all my business stuff so I can't make any money. Holding all my personal belongings. I went by there twice to try to get my personal belongings. She's never there. Stuff like that. Stuff like that. Now, and it just gets worse and worse and worse to the things. Well, as it's happening, God said, Linnell, you must see what I no, God said to me, he said, I must see what I thought my sister would never do to me so I can never forget. But on top of that, it's the pain. All right. The pain that kind of pain was taken to awaken me. Okay. So now I'm awake. So now I understand that the present moment is the only moment that matters. Everything is about perspectives. So what's happening is this: every single person has a different perspective of the world. But when you don't know that, when you're not awake, you don't know that. But every person has it. We all see the same world, but we all see it from a different perspective. I am now leaving the perspective. I'm leaving my old perspective into my new perspective. Okay. And when leaving perspectives, there are some people that do not want to let you go from the old perspective. They're going to call you crazy. Uh, you're tripping, you're cutting off people. They just make up a whole bunch of stuff. They don't really understand that they're doing everything. But as it's happening, God said, I cannot resist. So whatever she's doing, I have to let her do it. If she's going to take the business, I got to just write it off, let her have it. It doesn't really matter because I'm leaving that perspective. And what people try to do is try to trap you there. They try to use, especially narcissists, they try to hold on to it and keep you there. Well, now that I'm away now, like I had to leave. I had to, God had to kickstart it by letting the narcissist do whatever they normally do so I can actually see her now. So now the mask is off, I can see her. So now it's just a matter of wrapping a few things up and button a few things, and then I just never ever see that. I will never see or talk to her ever again. Right? It's not really, and some people think, oh, that's no. When now that I'm awake, I don't allow people in my life, but it's about uh, perspectives. Knowing that each person, now that I understand that each person has their own perspective of the world. So now all I have to do is, when I interact with people today, all I have to do is listen to them, to the way they speak about the world. To say like oh, it's bad, everybody's doing bad things, well, they're just really telling me about their perspective of the world, and they don't know they're telling me about their perspective of the world. Or when you hear someone say, all men cheat, women cheat. If you do this, they'll cheat on you. That's a perspective. There's a perspective of the world that people don't cheat on each other. They don't fool around on each other, lie to each other. Uh, but the reason, and I'm 55 now, the reason why I didn't know that, because I was living in that perspective as well, thinking that type of way, thinking that I always, you better protect yourself and this and that. Well, and truly inside of me, I was never that type of person, just to lie. I don't lie to people, but when I was in that perspective, it, here, how can I explain this? When you don't naturally lie, I also don't expect other people to naturally lie to me. Do you understand? But living in that perspective, there's a lot of people in that perspective that do, because that's how they live. Cheating is normal. Uh, Hurting people you love is normal. Like I know this might be difficult for people to grasp. Like with my sister doing these things to me, she's just doing what she naturally does to everybody. I'm not special, because now that I can see her for who she is, all I had to do was just look how she was living her current life. What she was doing to people outside, her friends and all, that's a perspective of life in which she lives. And so when I said no, which probably didn't very happen that much, the mask came down and she showed me who she is, and I thank God for it. Now I know it's hard to believe for some people, but I thank God for everything she's doing to me. I don't give any resistance to it. The lies, legal problems, just I gotta. It's everything. But I thank God I get to see it. Oh, that's who you are. That energy feeling, and everybody, I know there's millions of people out there right now that feel this in their family. I always felt, and this is the first time I'm telling anybody, with my sister, because I didn't talk shit about my sister at all. Nobody could tell me anything about my sister. I love my sister more than I love my mother. You guys understand the difference? That's how much I love my sister. I loved her more than I love my mother. There was always an energy, always a jealousy feeling. Uh, any woman that I would date, she would always have something to say about the girlfriend or the woman I'm dating. She looks this way. She doesn't. I'm like, I used to say to myself, I don't judge her boyfriends like that. I don't care what they look like. That has nothing to do with me. I don't care what she chooses, but I did notice that. Uh, what else did I feel from her? She was always listening to my phone calls, and I used to think, am I tripping? And I wasn't tripping. If you feel any kind of jealousy from a person, a friend, or somebody, especially a loved one, a family member, you got to pay attention to that, because it's real. Nobody has ever thought I was jealous of them. You know why? Because I'm not. I'm not jealous of anybody here on earth. I've never been like that in my life. I don't care what other people do. That's none of my business, ever. Why would I be jealous of somebody else when I can do anything I choose to do? Mm-mm. Never been like that. But I always felt that from her. And another thing that I've learned, just because they're family, it doesn't mean you have to deal with it. No, you don't. You can choose to leave. I cannot really explain this gift God gave me. I asked for God's help, and the first thing he did was remove the people out of my life that are not supposed to be there. You have to be ready for it when you ask, though. Now, for the rest of my life, I live for God. Does that mean I'm going to church and all this? No, none of that. None of that. It's not really difficult. And when I say, listen, when I say live for God, this is what it really is. If anything you do, if it's negative, that's obviously not for God. If you know you're about to do something and it's bad or it hurts somebody else, that understand that you're working for somebody else. Okay, if it involves in hurting other people, uh, uh, you're in a relationship with somebody and then you go have sex with another person. Who do you think you're working for when you do that? If it's negative, you know who you're working for. That's okay. I mean, if you choose that, that's a choice because God gave us all freedom of choice, which is a beautiful thing. My choice is Him. That's it. Now, as an awakened person, now I have to learn how to always live in the present moment because all my life we are trained not to live in the present moment. We're always, you get into work, you get into work program, you got to save for retirement. Hey, how much you going to have in 15, 20, 30, 40 years? There's no way. If you just stop, when you hear people talk like that, all you got to do is stop and say, wait a minute, there's no way I can ever know that. No, there's no way you can know that. They know that, but you don't know that. If you say, oh, let me start saving now. This is how much I'll have 50 years from now when I'm 60. That's not the present moment. The present moment is now. If you want to, as far as let me change it from the psychological to the physical, so the people that really don't understand the psychological behind it all you have to do is take the number line that we all in the middle and elementary school math class. Take the number line, zero in the middle, positive numbers, green numbers on either side, and then apply it to your finances. Go to your credit report, grab your total debt number, and whatever that number is, place it on the number line. That's where you are today, financially. Now, now that can give you kind of an idea of what you must kind of very slim idea of what you must grasp to reach this level. Are you ready to remove family members from your life? Are you ready to, hey, mom, dad, you've been showing favoritism to John and Sally over me. You still don't recognize it? No, I'm leaving. See ya. Because have you noticed that? With my mother, she has shown favoritism all my life to the girls, all my life. And I just thought I would just ignore it, ignore it, ignore it, ignore it. And then I finally confronted her about it. I said, hey, I want to talk about it. She said, nope, I don't want to talk about it. Then I said goodbye to my own mother. Sure did. See ya. Because they still expect you to do the son, daughter things, take care of them as they get old. I am so happy. I know this might sound cold, but I need people to understand this. I am so happy that I removed my mother from my life because she's eating herself. She's eating so much food. She's eating herself into a wheelchair. And then she was expecting me to take care of her, even though I was like, "Hey, mom, let's get out there and take care of yourself." She wasn't trying to hear none of that, but she was check this out. She would expect me to take her to all her doctor appointments, even though she's not helping herself. I said, "No, no, thank you. I'm completely out of that now. Now I don't have to worry about any of that. Now she can do whatever she wants to do, and it has nothing to do with me. That's it. That's how you do it. You don't have to be locked in. I now know that I don't have to be locked in to somebody else's perspective of the world because in let's go back to perspectives. In my mother's perspective of the world, she thought that she could do one thing that bothered me. I try to talk to her about it. She doesn't want to hear it, but I still have to stay in her perspective of the world the way she has it. No, I didn't know that that was a choice. I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know I had a choice to say, no thanks, mom. I don't want to do that. It was crazy. At first, when I was in that perspective, I thought I was kind of like tripping. I was like, wait a minute, you don't ever want to go work out with me or nothing, da, 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 do some walking. But every time it's time to go eat, she's ready to go eat. And not regular eating, all you can eat places and stay there and just stuff herself back into a coma. I was like, no, thank you. I don't want to see that. No, thank you. She let me out. How she let me out? by not having a conversation with me about what I was dealing with all her life with her. I want to have it. I'm grown now. I need to have a talk about it. They don't want to talk about it? See ya, because I don't live in that perspective. The perspective in which I live, let me explain that to you. There's no lying. There's no cheating. There's no disrespect. There's no raising of the voices. You can sit down and have an actual conversation, listening back and forth. I'm telling you guys things that most people don't even realize exists. It exists. Yes, it did. Yes, it does. How does it? It starts with you. I don't live in that perspective anymore. The people in that perspective, they speak a certain way that they don't know how they speak. They're talking. They just tell you, "Hey, I live there." Okay. You don't even have to. I don't even have to say anything anymore. I just listen to by the way people talk. If they're in there calling women bitches and hoes, and oh well, in your perspective, I guess that's what they are. In my perspective, bitches and hoes don't live here. They don't live in my perspective of the world. Your perspective of the world. All of that is a perspective. There's love, trust, respect, inspiring, lifting, uplifting. This world is beautiful. You hear me? This world is beautiful. It just counts on the perspective of the world in which you live. So now, for the rest of my life, I'm going to obviously be helping people realize that. That's obvious. But first, God had to let me, I had to live it first so I can explain it to you. So I'm not just talking shit. It's like, hey, what do you know, Linnell? Well, I discovered my sister was a narcissist and I'm 55. 50 years of not knowing. 50 years of not knowing. After you, if you ever if you're ever ready to have the balls to do it, you got to just be ready for it. You're going to be shocked. You're going to go through a phase of, I can't believe they're doing this to me. We did everything together. You got to get through all that. You got to get through it all and just keep watching them. Just keep watching them. You got to listen to them lie about you, make up stuff, tell everybody stuff. Just ignore it all. Just don't pay attention to any of it. I don't pay attention to any of it. I let none of it get back to me. No flying monkeys are allowed to return messages. None, zero. Those are called flying monkeys. When narcissists start going telling other people about you, and then they ring around you, you start getting called, you start getting text messages for people you ain't heard from a long time. Those are called flying monkeys. You don't pay attention to that. You don't respond. You don't do anything. Hey, I heard this and that. I'm not talking about anything. You let it fade away. What my sister is doing is holding my stuff back. I want him out of my life, but she's holding all my stuff. That doesn't make, when you understand how perspectives work, because if you think about it logically, if you want somebody to leave, you just say, here's your stuff, get out of here. It's too late. It's over. Forever. I know people think, oh, that's your blood. No, once they do a certain thing to you, you will understand that is not true. It's over. And I thank God for it because I've awakened now. I'm awake. And I'm going to help millions of people either get out of this pain, go through this pain, or never experience this pain ever. Like I said before, a lot of people are in this with their families right now. They just shh. Can't say anything though. Their family, you just got to deal with it. No, you don't. You say goodbye. The narcissist is going to take, I'm going to just give you a heads up. The narcissist is going to take everything you love and try to use it against you to hold you in the same perspective as them, because they know once you leave that's it. There's no going back. This is forever. I'm awake now. There is no one close to me like that anymore. That's it. There's no more surprises. All my life, as I've been advancing through my entire life, the only thing that has slowed me down is people outside of me. Outside of me. I'm like, I'm steady thinking, how come they just don't want to succeed and make lots of money because that's not the perspective that in which they live. They don't know that they live in that perspective. You don't People are like, "Hey, LJ, what are you going to do?" Nothing. This is about to be over. I'm just wrapping this up. This is going to be done this year. None of this carries over into the next year. Next year is my year. That's what God told me. How do I know that? Because there is nobody else close to me in my life that could possibly ever cause that much pain again. There's nobody in my life like that right now. So now I know that. The only person that could cause that kind of pain is me. Actually, it's been like that all my life. I just didn't know it. Let me see who's coming up in here. I'm kind of on my thing. What's up? Let me pronounce this way. Q Quit Award 1. Good afternoon. Hello, Shaylin. Hello, Capers. Very good. Very wonderful. I'm blessed. I'm blessed beyond belief. I'm blessed beyond belief. You guys, put it this way. God put things in place. When I asked for God's help, I didn't realize he was putting things in place for what was about to happen to me. Because my sister, my sister wanted me out of the house. All she had to do was just, okay, let me just take my stuff, sign your name off the business, and I'll leave. She was like, no, that ain't good enough. I want you to suffer. No, I ain't signing nothing. Then you won't want me to leave. I don't get it. But that's how they do it. Anyway, next thing you know, bam, 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 bam. Police escort me out of the house in 15 minutes. I've been back. She's kept personal property and business property and not giving it back for some odd reason. It changes nothing. Now, for the average person, because it's designed, you gotta come outside of their perspective. Coming outside of their perspectives mean you're removing your emotions, okay? And now I can look at it. Okay, why would she hold my personal stuff back and my business? Oh, she wants to hurt me. Oh, okay. No. How do you say no that they don't get to hurt you? I'm attached to nothing. I'll start a new business. It doesn't matter to me. I'll just remove myself. I don't care. It's over. Nothing's stopping this. I'm not going to court, lawyers. No, you can have it. Keep it. I'll start over. I already know what to do. That's how it works. You make sure narcissists know you have nothing to use to hold me or hurt me. They need to know that. No matter what they do, nothing is stopping this now. Nothing. All the things were put in place by God already to make sure, yeah, it was going to be a hard hit, but not hard like that. So music production. We were naive. I totally understand. I thought everyone was like me. Love, love, love. Yep. Chill, please did the yep. Yeah. You're right. Put it this way. We look naive. Awakened ones who are asleep in the wrong perspective look naive. So here, let me give you a naive example. The narcissist woman I left in 2023. All right. She was absolutely horrible. Now, I am with her. I'm only with her. I'm not fooling around, nothing. That's not even in my mind. But she's doing all that behind the background. To her, because I wasn't doing it, to her, I look naive because I wasn't looking at her phone. I wasn't checking her email. I wasn't seeing where she was going. But in my perspective of the world, you don't have to do that. In my perspective of the world, the woman I'm with, she knows I love her. She doesn't have to worry about it. She can take my phone because nothing's in it. There's nothing in there to disrespect her, for her to question. None of that. None of that at all. People don't believe it exists. It exists. You don't think men think, oh, no woman would be. Yes, there are. Yes, it is. This is this right here. Since many don't even know about awakening, think it's phony or whatever, it's a language that people in that perspective don't know how to speak it, nothing. You got to have backup. You get a bit of prenuptial. That's for everybody in that perspective of the world. That's what it is. We look so naive. We look so naive in their world. Oh, they're so easy. They're a pushover. They don't hit back. They don't yell. Why the narcissist just constantly does that? They think you're soft or whatever. Nope. Once you leave that perspective of the world, narcissists are cowards.
Okay.
Yes.
You want a bagel or something? Like a toasted bagel?
Yeah, I'll be out there in a second. Yeah, I'll grab it. Thank you.
Yep.
See? Friend of mine. Good friend of mine. See what I'm saying? You trust God, you will have people in your corner that will love you just as much as you love them. Everything is beautiful. All you gotta do is put it in your mind. The present moment is the only moment that matters. So if you're in a situation, right? And say like you're just in a room, you got the heat on, you're laying in the bed, and then all of a sudden you start thinking about the situation. You're thinking outside the present moment. You're totally forgetting about you're in a warm house, in a warm bed, with the heat just right where you want it. Everything. Always, and it's hard. If you let These are thoughts. You can't control thoughts that come in your mind, but you can control if you follow that thought. When a thought comes in your mind, and it's about something in the future, you could say that has nothing to do with today. And you just stop. You just not follow it. It's difficult though. It is difficult. It's just the gift of discernment is very uh I remember when I first started hearing that word discernment, I didn't know what to think of it, but it's actually a gift from God. Yes, he is. Their daddy is Satan for sure. They don't really understand that they are controlled by, I believe, I don't know. I'm not even going to assume. I don't know. And when I say, let me make sure this is clear. I want to reiterate that. When I say I'll never see or talk to my sister again, the only person that will be able to convince me to talk to her is God. God would have to tell me, hey, you can talk to her now or whatever. I know people don't believe that, yeah, but it doesn't matter. I live in a whole different perspective of the world. 50 years of not knowing for sure. But that's okay. I'm glad. And make sure it's all about words. Let me make sure I just recently learned this. When you say like you break up with somebody and you say, oh my God, they just ruined my entire life. You got to listen to what you're saying. It's like when you say my entire life, when you say entire life, they're saying you must be saying that you're dead because you haven't even lived your entire life. Always say like this: they have tried to ruin my life up to this point in my life. They messed up something up to this point in my life. It's all about words. Never say your entire life, especially when you're speaking, especially when you're talking about it. Messed up in my entire life. You pick up the mirror and say, "Are you dead? Why are you saying your entire life? Are you dead?" You literally do that. So you can stop saying those wrong type of words. What's up, Owen? How you doing, sir? Welcome. It is very well, sir. It's it's almost like the situation, but worse when I came to have breakfast with you. It's almost like that, but it's a good thing though because these are the last people to be eliminated from my life, which is I can't even explain it. It makes room. This is what will happen if you guys build up enough courage to be able to do this with your family, to remove the family members that do not belong, that every time you're around them, you have that negative ass fucking energy just drowning. Hey, hi, hey, I haven't seen you in so long. Once you remove them, you will make room for the right people in the right perspective of which you want to live. You think you think women know men like me exist that would actually be faithful and never cheat and only be with you in every single way? They don't believe it. Why? Because they're probably trapped in the wrong perspective as I. I don't do stuff like that though. I don't just no. This is my spacesuit. This is what happens when you awaken. I understand this body right here is my spacesuit perfectly adapted to Earth. This is the only way I can walk around and get in cars and drive and see and smell and taste stuff and pick up stuff. Without this suit, I can't do any of that. I'm not going to mess my suit up by not treating it properly. That's it. That's it for the day. I'm going to go get my bagel. You guys have a wonderful Christmas Eve. I'm about to spend a beautiful Christmas Eve with my friend and his family. Something, a different experience. It's a really big event, and I'm excited to be part of it. Thank you, God. You guys have a good evening. Oh, I don't even know. How do I end this now? I don't even know. Oh, okay. Actually, it was less than. You guys have a good one. Thank you, Owen. You have a good one out there, man. Merry Christmas to everybody. Think about what I said, man. Think about what I said. All right, you guys have a good one.